Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you all had an amazing weekend. I know I did. I had a Christmas dinner with my family, so we had that going on Saturday and Sunday. Monday I didn't trade, but today is Tuesday and we are back at it. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about what I wanted to see in the market, what my thoughts were, and essentially I have a couple of tips for you that I actually learned from Tanya Trades. Yeah, I was actually watching her live stream this morning and I picked up on a few tips and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So with that being said, let's jump into the charts and I'll show you what I was looking at this morning. So, perfect. Let's start on the daily time frame. Now, okay, we have reached these new highs, but for me, I didn't expect the market to be moving any lower just because we've had such a nice run these last couple weeks. And I mean, it's just been going higher, higher, higher. So there's no reason for me to believe that we are going to go lower. Not until we break some sort of low or we have like a downtrending day. I just wanted to see price continue higher essentially. Even though we have already taken out this high and we traded into those monthly highs. So I just kind of was like, listen, like I just want to see some more buys. I'm not in the market of going against the market. We're gonna trade with the market. So I saw that happening and just wanted to see buys today. Again, we have been going to new highs, but we just kind of want to trade with the market. So let's jump down to the 1 hour. Perfect. So this morning on the 1 hour time frame, we have this new week opening gap, which is great. We didn't actually trade down into it again for a second time. We did close it in on Sunday, but we didn't trade down into it, and then we just continued to push higher. So this for me right here is a classic, hey, we want to push higher. Like we want to see the market move higher. And since I saw this, I wanted to see the market continue to move higher. We didn't quite take out those monthly highs yesterday, but we did take them out this morning at 7 a.m. But I was watching the market to see how we traded this morning. I marked out this 1 hour fair value gap right here. And something else I did was, because we're moving higher, I want to see these Fib levels traded too. So I took the last swing high, which was this, or the last retracement move, which was the swing low down here. I took the low to the high, and then I just marked out these Fib lines, and I wanted to see the market trade into these objectives. This one should be a little bit higher. This -1 Fib level, and then of course this -2 Fib level up here. And I want to see the market trade into these levels just because they are a projection swing. So if we do a full projection, full swing of the door, fully open, we'll get to this. And we did in fact trade into that first level this morning, which was awesome to see. But that's kind of what I was aiming for my objectives this morning. We did trade down into this 1 hour fair value gap, traded into a little bit of that opening range gap, but again, we didn't actually trade down even to the 50% levels. So to me, that means we are pushing higher. We want to see higher pricing. So let's drop down to the 15-minute. I'll take this off. Perfect. So we're on the 15-minute time frame again. Now I was looking at this and I kind of just wanted to see like what we were doing. We have this little inversion fair value gap right here. We did trade down into it, and then we didn't quite make it down into that inversion fair value gap, but that's okay. Our objectives was buys, so we wanted to see how the market would move after the 9:30 a.m. open. And we did in fact trade down a little bit, not quite taking out this low, these relative equal lows, which is fine, before moving higher. And now we have that shift or break in market structure. We came down again this right here is actually an institutional order flow entry drill because we didn't quite come down into the fair value gap. These lows are the exact same low. So this low is 4,802.25, and then this low is 4,802.25. So that is the perfect low. That is the open of that fair value gap. So this is an institutional order flow entry drill. Seeing this again was giving me confluence of, hey, we want to move higher. We're looking for buys. That is a good signature that we are going to continue to move higher. So let's drop down to the 5 minute. Awesome. So on the 5 minute time frame, this is where I took my trade, was this 5 minute time fair value gap right here. We did in fact trade into this 5 minute fair value gap right here after the open at 10 a.m. I didn't like how we closed it in, but we did respect that body, respected the low of the fair value gap, so I like seeing that. And then when I drop down to the 1 minute time frame, I'll show you kind of like this 1 minute fair value gap too, and we did trade down into that one more time before moving higher. And then of course we did have this nice little run, comes back down into this 5 minute fair value gap, and then we moved higher into this fib level right here. So I was only aiming for 5 points today because, hey, it's one of those days, but we did in fact reach our objective. So that would have been an 8.25 run. And because it was a slower day, we did actually have a smaller stop loss. So that's also nice. But let's drop down into the 1 minute and I'll kind of give you guys more insight on what I was looking for. Awesome, so we're on the 1 minute time frame now. Again, we traded down into this opening range gap slightly. As soon as we opened, we traded down into it before moving higher. We came back down into this 1 hour fair value gap, which was awesome to see. Look at how the wicks are respecting that consequent encroachment of that 1 hour fair value gap, but then the bodies are just touching the top of it again. So that was all really good to see. We had this displacement run higher. We have this fair value gap right here, which we could have used to get into our trade. It did come down into this 1 minute fair value gap at 10 a.m. So this would have been like the prime setup of the day before moving higher. We then filled in this fair value gap, now turning into a inversion fair value gap, but in confluence with that 5 minute fair value gap. So we could have taken our trade right here off this 1 minute candle right here to move higher. Again, we did have this 5 minute fair value gap here, which was kind of like nice to see as well because we did take out short-term sell-side liquidity, move down into this 5 minute fair value gap before ultimately moving higher into those fib retracement levels. So all in all, beautiful trade, beautiful setup. We took it on the 5 minute time frame. This was a great trade to take, and again, even though we are at new highs, it is awesome to see the market play out. Now, I'll show you kind of like some tidbits, some information that I learned this morning. So if we are on the S&P 500 E-mini futures contract, but it is the continuous contract, all right? So this means we're not using the contract, it's the continuous contract. So we'll see these like gaps in the market. Basically, this was when rollover happened, so we had that gap. Now, if we go to the daily time frame, we can see, hey, we took out this high right here, which is in fact the highest high recorded. But if we go down into the corner right here, you see where this says B/ADG. If we click on that, we can now see that there is actually, in fact, more highs on the continuous contract that have yet to be reached. And I looked into this more, and essentially what it is when we change to the BADJ set right down here, it allows you to back adjust previous contracts in continuous futures, eliminating the roll gap resulting from price deliveries in different contracts. So essentially, this is actually the true market price without the rollover gaps that we can see in the markets. So if we change back down here, we can see we have these gaps in the markets, but this allows us to see price without those gaps in the market. So we actually do have some more highs that we can target, which is super awesome because it's super nice to have some sort of liquidity to reach and target. So definitely a cool little piece of information that can help your trading just by switching down clicking this button down here. So yeah. Now, another thing I wanted to mention was I'm actually gonna start looking at the DXY more, because we are at like these highs on the ES and we're looking for confluence in the ES, and we're trying to understand like where the market's going to go. So we know that if the ES is going to go higher, the DXY is likely to go lower. Because of that, we wanted to see where the DXY might be targeting. So we have these daily lows down here, but we also have this 15-minute inversion fair value gap that we wanted to see the market trade down into. And because we have that kind of drawn liquidity lower on the DXY, we can trust that the ES will likely want to drive higher. Now, obviously this isn't perfect, but it just gives us more of an understanding of where liquidity is, what our drawn liquidity will be, and gives us kind of more confidence in knowing, hey, if the DXY is going to move lower, the ES is probably going to move higher. So these are all little nice tidbits of information, and it's something I learned on a fellow trader's channel. So I'll definitely leave a link to her channel in the description box. Her name is Tanya Trades. Honestly, the live stream was awesome. I learned a lot. She also trades NASDAQ, but I learned a lot from her, and she's definitely somebody worth checking out. I'd highly recommend going and checking out her channel. I don't know if she does a live every day. I just tuned in today and learned some information that was super awesome. So super excited about that. And I'm gonna leave it here, but yeah, we'll just go back to this trade setup again. Because we had that DXY confluence of wanting to go lower, we wanted to see the ES go higher. We also see that the PD arrays are being respected, like this 1 minute fair value gaps being respected before moving higher, this 5 minutes being respected before moving higher. So understanding, hey, the PD arrays are being respected, we have better understanding of where we want to see the market go. So that is all for me. I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you liked this video. I am back at it again after our Christmas dinners on the weekends. So I hope you all have an amazing weekend. It is Christmas next weekend. It is the New Year, the weekend after. It is definitely the end of December, so we're probably going to have some slower movements. And just try to enjoy some family time if you can. Family time is always important. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.